Hello everyone, this is Colin once again. You know, I really like horror movies. Scary movies. Movies that frighten you, movies that you watch during the Halloween season, or, just actually, any horror movie at any time is really, really good. A good scary movie, one that just really creeps you out. I really like that. I've always liked that. One of my favorite horror authors is H.P. Lovecraft, Stephen King, Anne Rice. These are very genuine and good horror authors. And I also like Dawn of the Dead. The zombie movies, Night of the Living Dead, Day of the Dead, and now what is it? There's Land of the Dead now or something. I actually haven't seen that. I don't know if it's any good, but you know what I found really interesting is that there was actually a Dawn of the Dead in the New Testament. That's right. There is literally a rising of the dead. Not in the sense of the resurrection of Christ, but I mean, there's literally a mass zombie rising in Jerusalem, according to the Gospel of Matthew. Now, what's really interesting is that when I've talked to a lot of Christians about this, and what's funny is that most Christians don't actually know that this happened. I'll talk to some Christians and they'll say, "What? That's not in there. There's no, mass amounts of people rising, coming out of their tombs and going into Jerusalem." And I go, "Actually, yeah, there is." And a lot of them don't believe me. I think only the very knowledgeable Christians who've actually read their Bible know about this, but the layman Christian has no idea this story exists in the New Testament. And for some background, this takes place right after Jesus expires on the cross. Literally after he's done the famous Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, my God, why have you forsaken me? He expires on the cross, and then some really interesting things start happening as a result of him yielding up his spirit, according to Matthew 27, verse 50. But if we continue on into verse 51, some interesting things start happening. For example, 51 says, "And behold, the veil of the temple was split in two. From top to bottom, the earth was shaken, and the rocks were split. And the tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And they came out of the tombs after his resurrection, and entered into the city, and appeared to many. Now the centurion and those with him guarding Jesus, when they saw the earthquake and the things that happened, became greatly frightened, saying, Truly this was the Son of God," etc., etc., etc. So we have some very interesting things happening here. We have now what's interesting is that, from a historical level, the ripping of the veil in the temple actually happened. To my knowledge, historically, I think even the Jewish Talmud, Josephus, they chronicle that this actually happened. They don't correlate it to a guy named Jesus being nailed to a cross, and then that's why it happened, but they say it happened. And I don't even know about the whole earthquake thing that happened. Okay, that's fine. That could have happened. Who knows? But I'm more interested in this verse 52 and 53, which says, "The tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And they came out of the tombs after his resurrection, and entered into the holy city, and appeared to many." That's interesting. So Matthew is saying that people who were dead, or he says they were sleeping, and I'm going to make another video looking at the terminology of sleep and death, how those terms are used in the New Testament. But for now, in this video, let's just look at it like this. These people were dead, and after Jesus expires, they come back to life, and they all come out of their tombs, and they all go into Jerusalem, and they speak with many people, according to Matthew. And you know what's very interesting about all this? Is why is it, first off, why is Matthew the only gospel writer to record this? I mean, this is a big deal. And I'm not even being sarcastic here. This is a big deal. Why is it that he's the only one that records this? Second off, why is it that nobody else records this? Why does nobody else record? You have people who were dead come back to life and go into Jerusalem and talk with their families or talk with many people. How come nobody actually brought this up? Why didn't anybody talk about this? I mean, this is a big deal, right? Why does nobody talk about this? How come we don't have any other corroborating documents to talk, or people discussing? Why doesn't Josephus talk about this? I mean, you'd think Josephus would have chronicled this. You have people coming out of their graves and coming back to life and going into Jerusalem right after Jesus is crucified. I mean, that's a big deal. How come nobody else talks about this except for Matthew? And why is Matthew the only gospel writer that talks about this? Again, I find it very strange. Why? Why is that? Why don't we have any other evidence for this? And why is Matthew the only gospel writer recorded? Because to me, this is a pretty big deal. I mean, there have been news stories of someone who was clinically dead and then comes back and then talks about them seeing heaven or what. I mean, that stuff makes the news nowadays. There's a whole book. I work at a bookstore. There is a book that's on sale right now. It's a biography of a guy. It's like 90 minutes. I think that's the title of the book. The person literally is dead and then comes back. And he's making money off of writing about this. And people write newspaper articles discussing near-death experiences. It's a big topic. There are History Channel that has documentaries on this. And yet nobody beyond Matthew bothers to talk about this. Why doesn't anybody talk about this? I just find it very odd. Now, I leave this very open-ended because I want people to bring other evidence. I really am inviting people. I'm inviting Christians, anybody else, to bring further documentation that this event actually happened. Because I just find it very interesting. I find the whole event very interesting. I, again, find it interesting that only Matthew records it and that nobody else recorded it. I mean, Matthew got lucky, I guess. But I'm just very interested in this, and I'm hoping that people can bring more evidence forward for this topic. Alright, everyone, thank you for watching, and once again, I hope I have not offended anyone in this video. Again, I am just trying to mix things up a little bit and just try and present this in an entertaining way. So I really hope that that I have not offended anyone, and I hope that I've inspired people to try and find further truth into this topic. Thank you everyone for watching. Peace be with you all.